Hello, children. Yes, already we have discussed about the lifestyle of the children who live in the plain areas and the children who live at the boundaries, high-rise mountains, high mountains, and near the border areas of our country, and where there is always unrest and what do we say, fearful and scaring and like war environment is there. Like we have seen the comparison between how the children of the plain area and that area will be like at different timings in the morning, afternoon, and in the nights also we have seen that. Now let's move on to the lesson. The name is the apricot tree. Apricot tree. Right. I have lived in the camp for close to a year now. When I remember my old home, somehow I love it more than I ever did. It was spring when we left, and the grey mountains were slowly turning green. The apricot tree, which my grandfather had planted as a young man, was heavy with ripening fruit. So he lived in a camp for close to a year now. Now from the present for the present situation, he's saying that for 1 year I stayed at the camp. So when I remember my old home, right? So whenever I remember my old home, I love it more than ever I did. See, when we stay at our home, we never love it, right? We always feel that it's a home, that's all. Right? But when we move away from home and stay for several days, then absolutely home will be pulling you towards it. Right? The same is with the parents also. Every day you are living with the parents, it's not a thing of realization, right? But when you leave parents for a longer period and start staying at hostel, then you feel homesick, right? You feel like you want to go back to your home, you want to see your parents, right? And this is the same situation here with this person. So it was spring when we left, so they left their home when it was spring, and the gray mountains were slowly turning green. So in the spring, slowly leafing takes place, and thus the mountains are turning to green. The apricot tree, which my grandfather had planted as a young man, was heavy with ripening fruit. At the time when they left the home, that apricot tree was very heavy with ripening fruits. Right? Now, Abba and Usman were making last minute arrangements before taking our flock to the high pastures. So, what happened 1 year before? That is what now we are going to know. Road. So Abba and Usman were making last minute arrangements before taking our flock to the high pastures. So what is flock here? Yes, their goats, sheep, whatever the animals that they live with them, right? That they are taking for high pastures, like means where there is green grass available, there usually people will be moving all the animals, right? The domestic animals, to feed the animals over there, instead of going every day and coming. And if the place is very far, they move out and they stay there only for certain months, right? I begged to go along with them. So this person, like whoever it is, like I begged to go along with them, so with Abba and who is the other one, Usman. So let us see what happened. Not this year, Abba had said firmly. In a kinder voice, he had added, maybe next summer. Usman was 15, I was 11. So now we know who this I is. I is a boy of 11 years old, right? And he belonged to a family where they are living in a mountainous place, and he is having one brother and one father till now. And it seemed like I would have to wait forever to be as old as him. Why? Because what does it mean? See, brother is 15, he is 11. Now by the time he becomes 15, brother will be 19. So that is what he is thinking. Like, see, I have to wait for the lifetime, because always he is elder than me, and therefore Abba always preferred to keep elder son with him. Meanwhile, there was meanwhile there was a school to attend and Ammi and Habiba to look after. So there is mother as well as also sister to this fellow, and this is a family with three children and two elders. Right. So now here he's again trying to console himself, saying that anyhow I have to attend the school and I also must take care of Ammi and Habiba. So they are your responsibility, Abba had said proudly. And also Abba also said the same thing, that Ammi and Habiba are your responsibility. You have to take care of them, my dear son. And me and your brother will be leaving to the green pastures. Usman, putting bags of barley flour, salt, and dried meat onto a mule's back, had given me a sympathetic smile. So he is feeling it like that, right? Usman putting his bags. So what they are collecting? That they are taking barley flour with them, and salt and dried meat. All right. So and because they are living in on hills and mountains, they may not be able to get vegetables and all that. And especially these people are going to a very remote place from their home, and so they are taking whichever is possible for them to put on stock. I envied him the days of adventure and freedom that lay ahead. While I would be in school cramming useless stuff like tables and grammar, he would be out in the mountains, fishing in the streams, sleeping under the stars. I watched them go till the flock was just a cloud dust in the distance, and barking of dogs an echo in my head. So now here the father and the brother they left, and this fellow is envying the brother really, because he has to sit and mug up and listen all the tables, grammar and everything in the school, and whereas the brother will be happily playing with all the freedom under the sky and stars, right? And therefore he was envying him. And then slowly they moved along with the flock, and then only a cloud, a dust of cloud is there appearing far away from them, as well as the dog's barking is echoing in his ears. That means it is all in his memories, right? He is talking about what had happened 1 year before. Okay, since 1 year they are staying in the camp. Before 1 year, when they were moved to camp, before day or at that particular time, what had happened, right, in that period. 4 days later, the first shell landed on our village. It came across the ridge and shattered the police chowki. The third period had just begun. Our teacher, Sadiq Ali, was at the blackboard when there was a loud, dull boom. The walls shook. The blackboard toppled off its stand. Sadiq Ali's spectacles fell off his nose. The rest of us looked at each other in astonishment. So, what is happening? Yes, bombing is going on. So, a shell exploded on the village after 4 days that the father and the brother left, and it came across the ridge, right? So, that is what is a ridge? The top, the narrow top of the mountain, we call it as a ridge. And then shattered the Polish chowki. So, whatever the check post is there, that is been shattered. And third period had just begun, and suddenly what happened? There was a dull boom. That means another shell, right? Another bomb. And now the teacher Sadiq Ali was at the board, and his spectacles fell off, and the board also toppled off its stand, right? And every one of them are looking each other in astonishment. Before Sadiq Ali could stop us, we ran out of the school and up the road to the village square. We had barely crossed the grocery shop when another shell landed on it. When the dust settled, we saw that one wall had a big hole. Through it, we could see the owner cowering behind a sack. He was covered from head to toe with its contents, that is, floor. So here you can guess now what's happening. So there is a war again, and the bombs are dropped on the area where these people are living, and slowly, one after the other, the bombs are exploding. And now, children, before Mr. Sadiq Ali could stop them, ran out of the school and they started running towards their village. And on the way, they were about to cross the grocery shop. At that point, one shell fell on the grocery shop, and you can see that the owner is totally covered with the floor. The bombardment continued for another hour. So, bombardment means one after the other, one after the other. When continuously something is falling, then we call it to be bombardment. Right? So, here continuous bombing. So, continued for another hour. 6 shells hit our village. Several more fell on the highway and the river beyond. A giant spray of water splashed every time a shell landed in the river. So, whenever shell is falling in the river, so you know that a giant splash of water comes out, and 6 bombs fell on their village, and a few on the main road, or that is highway, and few in the river. So, you see, as if there is Diwali going on continuously, continuous bombing on a village, really pathetic condition, dangerous situation, a place where it is not at all suitable for living. In the late afternoon, a jeep roared up into the village square. A man got up on top of the bonnet and yelled through a loudspeaker, "You are informed that this village is under attack by the enemy," as if we did not know that already. "This is a war zone. For your own safety, you must evacuate your homes. Take only the bare essentials. Go to the camp at Dras. Make sure that all women and children leave the area." He jumped off, got into the jeep, and rode off in the direction of the next village. So it is not only this village. From this, though, we can understand that even complete surrounding areas are under this bombing, and there is war again. And now these military personnel, they started warning and making the people alert that they have to evacuate their homes and move to the camps where they can be protected. See how dangerous the situation is. Our neighbors, old Suleiman and Amina, refused to leave. Chacha was 95 years old. "I can't leave my animals behind," he said angrily. "Who will feed them?" "Fine then, if you are not going, neither am I," Chachi said emphatically. So, very firmly and clearly, Chachi also rejected going, because Chacha, he was like 95 years old, and he is not ready to leave his animals there, that is domestic animals. And then he said, like, who will feed them? So, they are such old people that they are not ready to. Who are they? They are the neighbors of this family, and they are not ready to move to the camps. And can you see, this is how the houses are? Really, really worst situation. Okay, only once when water has come into like Hyderabad city, and where everywhere compound walls or something like fell down, we felt very bad, is it not? We felt it's very disastrous and like very huge loss for us. But see the condition, this is the same, this is the condition always, all 365 days, at those places where unnecessarily the governments and the countries are fighting for their boundaries. So here I pray to the Almighty that there should be some sense in the minds of the people who are creating a nonsense, and who are like trying to show their domination, like by suffering the fellow men. It is not at all good, right? They should get some sense. Okay, let's continue the remaining part of the lesson tomorrow.